Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World, and in this video I'm going to give you my first impression on the new unit, Red Mask Hwaryun. So, first things first, I'm going to say that this unit is more of a tank unit than anything else. She's not going to be a carry, at least as far as I tried her. Her damage has never really been high or crazy high. She could maybe be a sub DPS, but I really don't see her in that position, in my opinion, is not really what you want to run her for. She's just going to be a frontline unit that's going to provide crowd controls to your team, above the physical peers, which is not really that helpful for red, but whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much all. Crowd controls is the main focus of this new variant, I would say. She's a really solid unit. I would say a good addition for red. Even though her passive, as I just said, is just strange. Like, you cannot boost physical peers for red. I mean, red doesn't really care at the moment. We have only a Craptor and Vicente that are dealing like physical damage. For a Craptor, she's probably a really nice boost. For Vicente, well, I don't know. Vicente doesn't really deal a ton of damage by default. Maybe she can help, but I don't think a 16% is really going to change that much. Still, quite helpful anyway. Even without that increase in like physical peers, I think she's still valuable with the rest of the kit. She has silence, stun, provoke, knockdown. Really, really good kit overall. So, that being said, let's just open our page and go over the skills really quickly. And skills. So the passive, as I just mentioned, she's going to give all allies 16% physical pierce once you get her to the red tier. Cool. And then she has an immersion kind of stacking mechanic. It's a red bar below her energy. You will see that bar filling in whenever she hits a basic attack, or with the execution also hits from the boomerang skill. I don't even know how to call it, whatever. She's going to increase the stacks whenever she hits 10. She's going to get a buff for 6 seconds. After these 6 seconds, the bar is going to be empty and she needs to stack it up again. She's going to get 80 attack speed when she's entering this method state. Really cool. And while she's in this state, every third strike of her basic attack is going to create an observer, which is going to deal damage. The multiplier is not that high, but okay. And is going to silence enemies for 1 second. Really cool. And whenever she applies a status effect with skills or basic attacks, so the silence, the stun, the provoke, the knockdown, whatever, is going to stop the target's active skill cooldown. Now, this, I don't know exactly how it plays out. I cannot really tell because we do not see like cooldowns of the active skills. But what I think it does is just resetting the timer. So you had 1 second left before you could cast the active skill. Cool. Now you have 20 seconds again or something like that. I have no idea. Unless, and this is probably more likely, in my opinion, than a reset, it means stop in the sense that for the duration of the crowd control, they're not going to, like the timer is not going down. That's how I think it works, but I'm not sure. Just I'm just imagining things or just guessing here. Still, the passive is quite stacked, has a lot of different things, and is not bad at all, I would say. Really not bad. And she's never going to miss basic attacks anyway, really. She has way too much accuracy. Probably she can hit also and it's hard with the golden needle active, so no worries there. I think the thing we're going to read in her special move is pretty much useless on her, but okay, whatever. Quite cool passive, I would say. The active one is interesting. She's going to deal like an AoE attack and she's going to provoke enemies. Now, the thing is, she's going to target one unit and then hit also nearby enemies. And here we only have this target in mind plus additional enemies. She's going to knock back all the enemies near the target, but not the target themselves, for 2 seconds. Cool. Now, Hwaryun makes the target fully immersed, provoking them and evading all attacks from enemies other than the target for 3 seconds. So she's only going to provoke one unit. I haven't really double checked this. To be fair, I need to try it. Like, this is just my first impression. I need to do some tests to see if this provoke is actually single target or if it provokes everyone that's hit by her skill. I think by the way it's written is only going to be the main target, not the other ones, which is weird and unfortunate, I would say. But okay, we'll see. Still, it's a nice skill, a bit of crowd control. The damage is low, but whatever. Then we have external conflicts. She spins her spear towards the enemy, dealing 240% attack as damage to all enemies in his path and stunning them for 1 second. This is huge, also because with the exclusive equipment, this spinning spear is going to go crazy quickly, like crazy quick. She's going to hit a ton of enemies. She's also going to increase the stacks of the immersion state, really, really cool. And this spear lasts for 10 seconds, which is a lot of time. So yeah, I would say this skill is really cool. You will probably need a bit of effect hit here and there, but it shouldn't be a huge problem, I would say. Very cool. Then we have Climax. This skill has low multipliers. That's unfortunate for a special move. It's going to knock down the enemies. Cool. She's invincible while she's jumping in the air and throwing the spear. Not important, but still nice. And she's going to always hit the basic attacks for 6 seconds. Now, this is pretty much useless. And we're going to see why in a second. But this, I don't know, this special move to me is pretty much underwhelming. And I would say you don't need a Rainbow 5 at all. So in turn, not even Orange 4. Just because, as I said before, you need to focus on evasion if you are in the early floors. If you are like 45 floor or higher, then you might want to go with 100% resistances in both magic and physical resistance. So yeah, that's probably the way to go. You don't care about HP either. So whatever. Now, let's go over the exclusive equipment and see why I'm saying this. Because of the first level. Hwaryun basic attack accuracy increases by 50%. You're going to miss maybe the spear, whatever, but your basic attacks are never going to miss. Like 50% increase is insane. Like you have 700 means you have 1050. The enemies will have, I don't know, like at the floor I'm currently at 53, they have 800 evasion. I'm going to hit them, no problem. So with this first point alone, there's really no issue and no reason to go for the special move, and that special move to me is just weird. Just weird. It's probably meant to counter units that have like the forced evasion or I have no idea. Really, really weird. So whatever. It's okay. Now, the second point of the exclusive limit is really good. It's going to double or maybe triple because it increases by 2 times. It's probably going to be triple speed of the spinning spear, so the active 2. Very cool. And immersion tier increases each time an enemy is struck by the spinning spear. Even if you miss, this is not going to reset because it says you are going to reset only if you miss basic attacks, which are probably not going to. So, really cool. It's going to give some more stacks here and there, and it's going to speed up the damage dealt and also the crowd control capabilities. Really good, in my opinion. Now, the plus 20 is just going to be 5% of her HP back whenever she evades an enemy attack with the provoke skill. So anyone that's not the target, if they attack her, in like the 3 seconds, they're going to give her HP back basically. Not too important, but if you're running her with resistances, you might take a bit of damage here and there, really slow, really low amounts, and you're going to heal them back, even without the need of Bergamot or whatever. And you already have lifesteal, so Bergamot is really not needed. But we're going to say what I think about ignition weapons in a second. Now let's move on to the last skill here. She's immune to status effects while using basic attacks in the method state, so whenever she's buffed from the passive, she cannot be interrupted basically. To me, this is really cool. It helps keeping up the silence, it helps with a ton of things, so I like it. The status effect immunity is definitely good, and yeah, I would say the exclusive achievement overall is solid. Really nothing much to say here. Now, I'm not going to go over the gear, etc. I mean, it's the usual. You want to focus on resistances for sure, accuracy for sure. Also, this one in the early levels, because you will need evasion later on, might not be that needed. Crit rate and crit damage is probably the least important because she's not really a DPS unit, but still, that's the order I would go. Slot 4 first, second, well, actually, probably accuracy first, then slot 4, then evasion, and lastly, the crit rate and crit damage. Regarding the ignition weapon set, now you see she has random stuff because this is just the Hell Train setup that I have. I just put some random shit on units that I'm not really focusing on, and I gave my best sets to all the others. So this is just a filler set. It has no purpose, no reason, it's just random. But the sets I think are best on her are going to be Idea is not bad, even though the special move is nothing special. Just the two-piece effect is good enough. I will say that probably hybrid sets are the best option here. Like 2L set and 2 Doris are probably going to be the most beneficial. You're going to stack the passive more quickly, increasing the like crowd controls that you're going to output. So 2L to Doris is probably the best bet. But if you want to go with full sets, let's say Idea is a good option, not the best one. The best sets would be, in my opinion, either Runda or Doris. You can pick whichever one you prefer based on like your setup. Doris is most likely going to be better in general and also easier to find a spot for because you usually have already two supports unit in a team that are running Runda, one in the front line, one in the back. So it's useless if you have an additional Runda in the front line. So a Doris could help, and you can also boost the damage on your backline, which is really nice. So Doris would be my preferred set now, with just this first look that I had and the few tries that I did on her. I think Doris is the best option. You could also run Myongol because she has a provoke, but I don't think that's a really good option unless she can provoke multiple enemies, which from the description of the skill she cannot. And I didn't really pay too much attention while playing, so I don't know if she's actually provoking multiple enemies or not. If she doesn't, then Myongol is just bad. If she does provoke multiple enemies, could be okay because you can stack it up a bit more quickly and get the additional resistances more easily. You don't have to aim for 100% resistances right at the start of the battle. You can settle for 85%, 90%, and then the rest will come from the Myongol set. Now, after those four options that I mentioned, I would say Bergamot is next and is probably the least important one because she's a warrior. She can get now the lifesteal from the Revolution Road and she can get lifesteal from her exclusive equipment, so she doesn't really need that much lifesteal. It could be used early on because Bergamot is one of the first sets you're going to build anyway, so you might already have one built. You might as well use it on her. And in general, I think when you have a lot of resistances, you're not really going to need that much lifesteal. So the amount she has on the exclusive equipment is already good enough if you're running her with 100% resistances. Now, I already mentioned a lot of times 100% resistances, so it's a given you want to go with slot 4 magic resistance and slot 5 physical resistance. Now here there is just magic pierce. I'm going to swap it for something else just because why not? And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the ignition weapons. I think now that we have the Revolution Road, I should also mention this. But yeah, this is more like depends unit by unit, but also more so class by class. So warriors have a really good effect resistance here, which is only helpful if you have 100% resistances. If you don't, this is really kind of irrelevant. It will still help, like you can dodge Blarod's grab or other annoying stuff, some crowd controls, etc. It's good overall, but it's mainly used to dodge the debuffs that are going to decrease your resistances. That are the only things that can kill you in adventure, basically. So really, really important on warriors that are running 100% resistances again. The HP node, really not that relevant, but whatever. Evasion could be good early on, but it's just worthless later on, in my opinion, for the way you want to run her. So I wouldn't bother. Now the third one, the defense tier, just useless again, but it unlocks the lifesteal node. Now this lifesteal node, if you're not running 100% resistance, it could be good to put like 8 points in just for the 10% lifesteal. That with the plus 40 exclusive is going to be a total of 20%, something like that. It's quite good. And it's more than enough. I wouldn't go any higher than that. Probably you could even just not invest anything here. Just unlock the first tier, put 10 points in effect resistance, and that's all you need to invest in for the new Hwaryun. And yeah, guys, I would say that was pretty much all I wanted to say. Now, as my first impression, I will say she's nothing too crazy, but she definitely has a place in the red team and in general as a frontline unit. I really like the crowd control capabilities. I think she's worth a high spot in the tier list. Even though she doesn't deal a ton of damage, doesn't matter. All we need is that she stays alive, she stays in the front line, and she can crowd control and provoke enemies a bit. So yeah, I would say she fulfills those requirements. So for me, she's a good unit overall, just as a first impression. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know your thoughts if you have any question on her, if you would like me to test her in some specific compositions or whatever. Let me know in the comments what you think. And yeah, if you like the video, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!